Hello everyone, welcome to DG Bytes. I am Vaibhav Gupta, your Alteryx expert, and today we are going to learn about another interesting use case of batch macro. But we also learn how we can change a parameter or a formula in a formula tool based out of this batch macro utilizing Dropdown. So why wait? Let's start. So, before actually starting building the Alteryx workflow, let's first understand that what is our objective, what is the data set that we are going to work on, and how we are going to do these things. Let's start with the data set. As you can see on the screen that we have a data set of employee which is in the format of CSV file. We can see we have fields like employee ID, name prefix, first name, middle name, last name, their parents' details, their date of birth, all their personal details, their time of joining, their month of joining, etc. etc. Also, a very important column, salary, which will be the base of today's session. Suppose we have different HRs, let's say HR1, HR2, HR3 and so on, and they want to calculate salaries with different sets of formulas. Let's say HR1 comes up and he want to calculate salary by applying a formula 1, and now HR2 comes and he want to calculate salary with formula 3 and formula 4 and formula 5, and they all want to generate an extract after calculating this salary with the employee names. So how we can achieve that in Alteryx will be our target, and we will be utilizing batch macro to achieve this. Coming back to Alteryx, let's start building our workflow. So I will click here on the plus sign and go to the configuration section and select workflow, and then I will select it as a macro, and here it is as batch macro. So to start with, I will go to interface tool and select a macro input. So macro input will be similar to whatever file data set. I will just select randomly that particular file from which we are going to select our data. So I will browse that file. So it's currently stored on our C drive, and I will just browse it, and it's selected. So now our input data is ready. I will not select this field map right now, and name it as employee data and anchor name as E, so which stands for input of the macro of with the employee data. As you can see, it's giving us an error. Let's see what the error is. It says that database.csv file, the process cannot access the file because it is being used by another process. So that means this file, CSV file, is opened or being accessed at somewhere. So as it's on my local desktop, and you can see this file is being opened here, so the workflow is not able to access this particular CSV file. So now if I again run this, as I have already closed the file, the error has gone now. So make sure that whenever you are utilizing .csv file, you must make sure that it is not being accessed anywhere, so that there is no error in the workflow. Now I will use the formula tool after this input data set and see that salary column is picked. So I will look for the salary column, but as you can see, the salary column is being pulled from CSV file, and it is by default W string. So I will change the type of the salary column before I utilize the formula tool. So I will now bring in select tool and look for salary column again, and will change its type to integer 64 so that I can perform integer based calculations. So now what I will do is I will write a formula, let's say salary, and multiply it by, let's say, 10. But what I want to do is I want to replace this 10 by different sets of values based on the selection from a drop down, so that different HRs comes and use different multiplication factors. So now what I will do is I will drag drop down tool, or I would say drop down list tool, from the interface tools and place it here. You can see we can name it as, let's say, formula selection, so that user can easily understand what they are selecting. And in the list values we have multiple options, you can see here, but right now which is relevant for us as we are manually defining formulas, so I will select manually set values, and it uses name value combination. So by name value we means, so name is something which will we see in the interface, and value is something which we will replace in our formula. So for example, uh, let's say we want to replace 10 by 11 or 12 or 13 or 14 or any other number, and what we will do is we will replace this number in this drop down list by name value. So let's say formula 1, and its value is 12. Similarly formula 2, its value is 13. Formula 3, it will have value as 70, and formula 4, it has value as 80. So these are the different formulas that we want to show in the drop down list. Where we will see it, I will just show you in some time. Now what I am going to do is I will drag an action tool here and connect it to the formula selection tool, or I would say drop down list, and it by default got connected to select tool, but that is not our intention. We want to replace something in the formula tool, and we want to replace the salary value or the factor. So here I will go to the action update tool again, and here on the plus sign I will see that, or you can see that there are multiple things which we can replace, but right now my target is to replace this 10. So I selected this expression, and here I will click on replace a specific string, and I will replace only 10, not the entire value. So what this workflow gonna do is, whatever value I will select from the interface, or I would say from this drop down value, that value will be replaced by this update tool here, and the formula will be executed accordingly. So final thing what I will do is I will add the macro output, and I will write it as salary output and give it as abbreviation S. And now I will save this macro. Let's say I will go to C drive on the folder Alteryx, and I will name it as salary drop down macro and save. Now I will create another instance where it will be treated as YXMD, a standard workflow, and now I will try to get the input data. Again I will select that file, the employed data.csv, as it was in my recent files, so I just directly clicked here and I can see that the data is there. And now what I will do is I will input this data into the macro. So I will add that macro salary drop down here. Now you can see there are two anchors to this macro which we inserted, that is the salary underscore drop down. One is the standard batch macro anchor and second is the employee anchor which we defined in the macro itself. So what I will do is I pass the same data to both the anchors, but as this is a standard batch macro anchor, I have to define a control group by field, and let's say I will use phone number as it's a unique value, and I can use other fields as well, but right now I'm just using phone number. Then second thing what I'm going to do is I will add a browse tool so that when we run the macro we can see the output. Now what we are gonna do is, let's say we have data for Mr. Milan and his employee ID is 647173, and now I will see his salary. So his salary is 123,681, and here in the drop down list I will select formula 3. So formula 3 in the drop down has value 70, so the salary which is here like 123,681, it will be multiplied by 70. So let's calculate. So 123,681 multiplied by 70, the salary for Mr. Milan should come as 8657,670. So let me run this. The output will take some time as it's fetching the data of 10,000 records from CSV and it is converting the data into proper fields on the go. So it will take some instance, and also the speed depends on the memory of your system. So there are multiple factors which like contributes to the performance of your workflow when you are using it on your local system. But usually if you use it on the virtual systems, it will be much faster as the memory of those systems are quite high. So our output is about to come and it's rare. So now let's see what is the salary output that we have got for Mr. Milan. So let me search for Mr. Milan in the value section here. So there are 4 Milans and our target Milan is this one. So let's see his salary. And it is expected, it is 8657,670. Now let's take another example. I will change the value of formula here and I will select formula 1. So formula 1 has value as 13. So the original salary of 123,681 now will be multiplied by 13. So let me again 123,681 multiplied by 13. and the value should come as 160853. Let me run the workflow again. So again I will search for Mr. Milan. Sorry, I was running it on the wrong side. I need to run the main workflow and I was running the macro. And now the output will come in few seconds. So it's a very interesting use case where you are utilizing a drop down, and by selection of any sets of formula you are passing it as a parameter and you are replacing the formula and you are generating the different sets of outputs with different of formula selection. You can apply it to the multiple fields as well, or you can apply it to the single field, or you can use the multiple drop downs for multiple fields. So now the output is here. Let's again search for Mr. Miller and I will apply filter, and this is the right Milan we were searching for, and the value of salary, let's see, it's 1484172. Did we select the right formula? Formula selection, formula 1. Okay, we selected for, okay, it is multiplying by 12, so I made a mistake in the calculation. So instead of 13 it should be multiplied by 12, and yes, our salary matches, that is 148,172. So this is the one of the best use case of Alteryx batch macro, where you are utilizing the drop down for changing the formula and generating the different sets of outputs. If you have any questions regarding it, you can mention those questions in the comment section, or can write to us on our email given in the description. Thank you everyone for watching this video. Please do subscribe our channel, and if you are looking for more such questions or more such use cases, just let us know and we will create the videos on that. Thank you everyone.